I'm Krista Williams. I'm the Executive Director of Sophia Transformative Leadership Partners. We call ourselves Sophia. Sophia was founded in 2002 by Ginny Gilmore, and she set forward this vision of a caring community. What would it look like if people came together in relationship to create the kind of community that they want to live in, where we cared for each other? As Robert Greenleaf says, the more and less able, each serving each other, is the rock upon which a good society is built. And servant leadership is certainly something that's important to Sophia. And Ginny Gilmore brought that inspiration to our organization, and that continues today. Although our programs are primarily within the greater Fond du Lac region, from Oshkosh to Ripon to Sheboygan, maybe down to West Bend, we have been asked to extend our services and our programs outside of this general Fox Valley region.
My name is Kim Galski, and I'm the Executive Director for Salute the Troops. And I help veterans every day and their families. So I am the connector. We are the broker for the connecting of the community, so Sophia plays perfectly into that.
I am Sarah Spang. I am Director of Entrepreneurship and Innovation at Envision Greater Fond du Lac, which is the economic development and workforce development agency here in Fond du Lac. In addition, I am the license holder and founder of the TEDx Fond du Lac event.
The Transformative Leadership Partners piece of our new name reflects the transformative part of our original mission statement, leadership, the way through which we are going to make community change, and partners, the way that we work together in community. We don't come as the experts in the room, but we come in partnership to helping people learn and develop and grow their leadership practices. Sophia programs tend to attract individuals from all different aspects of our community. They may be emerging leaders new to a leadership position, or they may be CEOs who have been in that role for 20, 30 years. So we do attract people that are intentional about learning how to practice leadership as a way of being of service to other people. They will attend programs like our Coffee and Conversation, which is a community of practice where people come together in a safe environment to talk about and learn topics related to servant leadership in particular. One of the other programs that we offer is a 16-hour program held over 4 months, once a month for 4 hours at a time. And that teaches skill development related to strengths-based leadership, servant leadership, collaboration and team building, skills and practices that help to make people better leaders. And so that particular program, we very intentionally attract people from across our community, whether that be in business, education, nonprofit, government, or faith-based sectors of our community. We also host a conference once a year. It's called an Aspiring Servant Leaders Conference. And the reason it's aspiring is because we believe that leadership is a constant journey, that even those of us who have been learning about it and practicing it for years have much more to learn. And we do that together as a community. We do that once a year. It's a half day. And we have about 250 to 300 people who attend from across the region, the greater Fond du Lac region.
So a couple of the programs that I was involved in, the first one was the Coffee and Conversation. That was really the first introduction, which I was a little nervous to go to, but once I started to see that I was among other people that were like-minded and wanting to give back, it became the thing I really looked forward to doing. And there's always a comment at the end of the class, give us some feedback, and it was, can I have this every day? Mm-hmm. And that was the first experience. The Leadership Learning Circle was my next experience, and that's really where everything changed for me. It gave me permission to be who I am. With having the Strength Finders a part of that class, gave me permission to be creative and to step into what I'm naturally good at, when I used to think that maybe my ideas were too big. Not so much. When you're running a nonprofit, you need to have those big ideas and the guts to go for it, and it's really given me that. So I'll be forever grateful. Salute the Troops is a veteran nonprofit here in Fond du Lac, started 7 years ago, so back in 2011. And it really started to take care of people coming back from the service and their families through financial assistance. And in the past 16 months, we've taken the idea of Sophia and building that more caring community and really helping with the transition between being in the service, no matter what that is, and transitioning back into the civilian world. So our mission has changed from more of financial assistance to just that rounded feeling of coming back to the community and being able to transition better, right back in from where they left, because they do come back different.
We talk about the mutual relationships. It is not just about the person that is in a positional leadership. It is about every single person showing up to be their best self. And what I love about the work of Sophia that we've been able to do in this region is that we are developing some shared language and people that are committed to being leaders in that way, not caring about necessarily their next promotion, they're getting ahead, but how can they bring others with them on that journey? And that work of community building and bringing people together in that shared commitment is ultimately the work of Sophia. It starts with the individual and it ripples out from their sphere of inspiration that they bring to others that their life touches.
So the one story that I'd like to share with you is a gentleman that called on the worst day, at the worst time, at the end of the day as I'm trying to leave, and he wanted to tell me his story. And he was having a hard time because he had some ringing in his ears. He was a combat vet. And all of us go through it where we get consumed with what we're doing and how we're doing and where we have to be after we lock the doors at night. And I waited. I thought that little voice in the back of my head said, be a good listener. Just be a good listener. And without getting too emotional, he had ringing in his ears that had been bothering him for a long time. And he was going to commit suicide. So I listened to his story. And 2 days later, he came into my office after he had taken my advice and made some phone calls. And before I could get up from my desk, he was hugging me and saying, "You saved my life. And it was all because you took the time to listen." So when they tell you to have a kinder heart and be open to communication and to just stop and listen to somebody, that's all it can take for somebody to feel connected and feel that their life is worth it.
One person going through programming or initiatives out of Sophia can truly change who they are as a person. And once they have that change in them, they can go out and do so much in the community. They can lead other initiatives. Our organization was offered the chance to have a staff member go through the Learning Circle series, and I was lucky enough to be able to go through that. After going through that series, I learned so much about myself, not just personally, but also professionally. And it really changed who I was as a person and the things that I wanted to put into the universe and give back. One of the exercises that we went through was our circle of influence. And we were asked to put on a sheet of paper how many people we influence. You know, you think about your family, your friends, the tangential individuals after that. And when I went through the exercise, I immediately put down 0. I didn't have any concept of the value that I had in my professional and my personal life. But after going through it, talking with the facilitator, talking with the others around me, it really opened my eyes for the first time of how much value I added to organizations, to groups, to everything in between. And I was so lucky to have gone through that exercise and turned that 0 into infinity, because I never will know the full impact of the things that I'm involved in.
So when I hear stories about how people are impacted through Sophia programs and services, I will say I feel proud that I'm part of an organization that is able to be part of an individual journey that changes lives. That I know that those journeys are not easy, and it is if we can have just a small impact on making somebody's life better, that is an honor and a privilege that I am very humbled to be a part of.
It's really important, I think, to have to surround yourself with other people that are like-minded, and especially when you deal on a daily basis with people that aren't. So, if I can affect one person every day by carrying forward what Sophia's mission is to make a kinder community through Salute the Troops, then I'm honored to be able to do that.
Our operating principles are the thought leaders, are the inspiration that we take out into our programs and services. Things like servant leadership based on Robert Greenleaf, systems thinking with Peter Senge, reflection and contemplation from Parker Palmer, compassionate listening, and dialogue. Those are all important leadership aspects that we try to bring to a community level. Our values of spirituality and stewardship and community building, compassion, wholeness, and transformation all inspire us in the results and the impact that we want to have. The other important event that Sophia does each year is called a Caring Community Award. And the award was started to recognize an individual, organization, or group that we think demonstrates servant leadership. The reason we think that is so important is because some people just think that is for a big city. That only happens in Dallas or New York or Atlanta. If we can prove that there are already companies and individuals and organizations that are doing it here, we want to inspire our community to keep that momentum going.
The seed that Sophia can plant into our community can spark bigger energy, communication, collaboration amongst everyone. If everybody knows that Sophia exists and that there's always resources out there to do better for themselves personally or professionally or what have you, I don't think we would ever know the full impact of it, but we would know that it exists and it is rippling out, not just into our community, but our region, our state, our country, and our world.
So in my own story of Sophia, I believe it changed my life and who I am as a mom, as a community member, and certainly as an employee of Sophia. I was given the opportunity to grow as a person, to learn more about myself and bring that whole person to work each day. When I started working with Sophia, it was 2007, and I was given the opportunity to attend a servant leadership conference in Indianapolis, an international conference. At that conference, the keynote speaker closed his remarks with a poem by Mary Oliver, A Summer Day. And it ends with a line, "What will you do with your one wild and precious life?" What will you do with your one wild and precious life? At that very moment, I knew that this servant leadership journey, that this connection that I had been given to Sophia was going to be part of that journey for me. And it inspires me each and every day.
The big vision for Salute the Troops is to be able to offer Sophia's mission along with ours. So, making that kinder community. A lot of the veterans coming back are having a hard time reintegrating back into being a civilian. And they're so used to taking orders and doing just one thing and being very mission driven that Sophia will be able to help them transition better and be better listeners and communicators and help to actually understand themselves better, which will make them better workers, better husbands and wives, better parents, and better community givers.
The best thing about Sophia is all of the people behind it. Sophia is a big idea. It's serving yourself and serving others in the best way possible, but it can't happen without a strong leader and with support and all of the people there that are willing and able to take advantage of all of those programs and resources that are available to them.
The best part of Sophia is that, their flower that they have that represents who they are in this unfolding. And that is what I have seen through this side of what Sophia does and how they impact a community truly. It's like this beautiful unfolding of kindness that comes from Sophia. That's the biggest piece of what I've seen now that my eyes have been open to it. So again, I'm forever grateful that it's been brought to me.
We're really proud of the people that we've been able to touch. We had over 720 people come to different programs and services and speaking engagements and workshops that Sophia put on within this last year. Individually, that's more than 400 people, because some will come to multiple Sophia events and programs. We do a little exercise in that program where we ask people to say how many lives are impacted by you directly through your leadership role. And maybe it's about 30 people. So if we take those 400 people that came to Sophia programs and services last year and multiply that by 30, that is reaching 12,000 people. That's a big impact that leadership can have. And that's why we want to support individuals on that journey, because we know it's not just about those 400 people. There's 12,000 or more people that really are touched by positive servant leadership.
When I think about Sophia's future, I envision that everyone knows Sophia's name. Sophia is truly the leader in the Fond du Lac area for servant leadership and the type of programming that it offers. But not everybody knows it exists. And if I had one grand vision of what I would like to see for its future, is that everybody you bump into would know what Sophia is and how they can get involved.
People will sometimes ask me, how do you keep doing this every day when people are skeptical, when people are faced with abusive, corrupt, unethical leadership practices that they encounter on a regular basis? And I do it because I get to hear all the good news stories of when it does work, when people feel good about themselves, when they are able to contribute in their own way to what they care about in their families, in their workplaces, and in the community.